Hello and welcome to ET Now Startup Central, India's first and only daily show dedicated to startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Chandra Srikanth coming to you live from India's startup capital, Bangalore. And as always, we have a power-packed show lined up for you over the next 20 minutes. Krishna.
And this is Krishna Kumar coming to you live from ET Now's Mumbai studios. First up, a check on all the headlines here at ET Now Startup Central. India visit has been fruitful. Apple CEO Tim Cook tells ET Now. Apple's top boss met Airtel's Sunil Bharti Mittal on day 3 of his stay in the subcontinent. A look at all the top deals this week on our Friday funding meter powered by Venture Intelligence. While the funding tap continues to flow, investors are giving smaller amounts in a bid to make startups spend money more efficiently. Regulations on net neutrality are likely soon. R.S. Sharma tells ET Now that TRAI will take a holistic view for a policy that will affect over-the-top players, telecom companies, as well as voice-over internet service providers. In what will put an end to the slugfest between cab aggregators and the Arvind Kejriwal government, Uber has agreed to stop surge pricing in Delhi. Taking a cue from this, Karnataka now is gearing up for strict enforcement of its recently drafted law governing cab aggregators. Venture capitalist firm Kalaari Capital startup incubator Kstart has published a survey on the state of women's entrepreneurship in India, and the result is not very flattering. Details coming up in a bit.
Krishna, certainly Apple and specifically Tim Cook week as far as ET Now Startup Central is concerned. But I guess we don't have a choice because, it is one of the world's most iconic companies. And we've been really at the top of every development as far as Tim Cook's India visit is concerned. So after Mumbai, Nagpur, Hyderabad, Tim Cook today is in New Delhi where he's met top industrialists, some unicorns. His schedule, he had quite a packed schedule, Krishna, but he started his day off by talking to ET Now's Krishanu Mukherjee in this exclusive conversation where he spoke about how his India trip has been fantastic so far and that India for him is more than just business. This is a big ET Now exclusive. Listen in to Tim Cook talking to ET Now's Krishanu Mukherjee.
Hi Tim, how's your visit been to India so far?
Fantastic.
How do you perceive over the past few days that you spent in India? How do you see India as a business destination?
I see it as a great country from many points of view, not just business.
How's your visit been to India so far?
Fantastic.
How do you perceive over the past few days that you spent in India? How do you see India as a business destination?
I see it as a great country from many points of view, not just business.
And we have with us the man who had that chat with Tim Cook, lucky enough to do that, Krishanu Mukherjee from New Delhi, who joins us live from the national capital. And to let you know, both of you, Zomato's Deepinder Goyal has just tweeted, and we are getting to know that Tim Cook was at Zomato's office in New Delhi just a short while ago. That's the latest coming in as far as Tim Cook's India visit is concerned. It's currently day 3 and he's in Delhi. Krishanu, tell us, you've been tracking him from the moment he set foot in Delhi. What is Tim Cook's agenda for the rest of the day in Delhi looking like?
Well, yes, that's correct. We have been tracking Tim Cook since literally the moment he set foot in Delhi. But from here on, today we know he has met the head of Bharti Airtel, India's largest telecom service provider, Sunil Mittal. And now we're also getting to know, as you rightly put it, that he's met officials from Zomato also. Going on from here, tomorrow his schedule is packed because now he's going to meet the top honchos of the government, going all the way up to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself. So tomorrow, Tim Cook is expected to meet PM Modi, where we're expecting Modi would, of course, pitch India's much-loved Make in India campaign. Now, Apple is one of the largest manufacturers in the world, and it is definitely the most valuable company as per many surveys. So to have Apple, through Foxconn, of course, manufactured in India is going to be a big boost to India. So we can expect Narendra Modi to definitely pitch for the Make in India campaign and to invite Apple to, in a sense, make in India. Now, from Apple's point of view, they would be looking to pass a few roadblocks. Now, you remember they applied for a license to set up single brand retail stores and be allowed to go past the 30% local sourcing norm saying that they are indeed, their products are of cutting edge technology, but then they were allowed not to sell their refurbished products. So that is another agenda that we can expect Tim Cook to take up with Narendra Modi. After that, of course, he's going to meet the Telecom Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad later in the day, followed by Nirmala Sitharaman, the Commerce Minister. And what we're also getting to know is that along with Nirmala Sitharaman, or maybe before or after that, he may also meet officials of the Department of Electronics and IT. So he's meeting people from all spheres of the society. Now, you remember he met Shah Rukh Khan also. So it's a wholesome visit for Tim Cook, and it actually puts things into perspective really better for India, because this is indeed the first visit to India by an Apple CEO. So it looks good for India from Apple's point of view.
Thanks for that, Krishanu. But Krishna, as he said, I think tomorrow is going to be the most important day of the visit because Apple stores is going to be discussed, and more importantly, the sale of refurbished phones, which was turned down by the Indian government recently. So, can he really turn the government around to his way of thinking, and what sweeteners will Apple throw in return? Or, our startup accelerator and development centers, the sweeteners that have already been thrown in by Apple, that's something that we have to wait and see. But guess what? Tim Cook's not the only global CEO descending on India, because next week on May 30th, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella is also going to be there in the national capital. He will be meeting achievers, entrepreneurs, students, developers in New Delhi, and there's also going to be a session hosted by CII where Satya Nadella is expected to interact with top CEOs. So looks like global companies really can't get enough of the Indian market.
Oh, certainly not, Chandra. I met Mr. Nadella when he was in Mumbai for their annual Microsoft conclave as well. As far as the tech giants go, all roads lead to India. That's what it looks like. Not once. I mean, Tim Cook first time, but Nadella, Sundar Pichai, they've been coming to India and going, coming and going. So they've got multiple entry visas, I guess, as far as India is concerned. But moving on here on the show, away from all the tech giants and on to the funding action in the week that has been venture capitalist investments. If you can pull that up in the period of May 16 to May 20, 12 deals worth $28 million, keeping in tune with these subdued times. That's the total value of deals struck. Let's take a look at some of the top venture capitalist investments. EduPristine, which raised about $8 million. Taptor, which raised about $3.7 million. Wow Express, which raised a little over $2 million, 2.3 to be precise. Also, a highlight of that week being Ratan Tata investing in Emergency, or the Emergency app platform. Some of the other deals apart from Ratan Tata's big investment include Fanindra Sama, Raghunandan G, who invested in Gallery 5. So that's the notable investments and the top ones as far as the week gone by, and all of that has been powered by Venture Intelligence. Back to you, Chandra, in Bengaluru.
Krishna, net neutrality has been a contentious issue, not just for telcos, but also for startups who feel that the absence of net neutrality could really throttle their business. That's why you had such a brouhaha happening over Facebook's free basics. Today, it's back in the news again, and that's because we have an exclusive conversation with TRAI chairman, who told us that they are in the process of firming up the final policy as far as net neutrality is concerned. Gauri Dwivedi caught up with him. Let's listen into what he had to say.
Paper on net neutrality, which we are going to bring about early next week, the pre-consultation paper, essentially is going to address that entire issue of network neutrality.
So what all will that specifically include?
That specifically will include the entire gamut of issues which come in net neutrality, which means the kind of the origin, the destination, the content, the fast lanes, the throttling of the data, and other issues, which if there are any. So essentially this will address as to what should be the architecture of net neutrality in our country. So that's one part. The consultation paper on free data, which we have brought out, essentially, let me explain what that is. Essentially, when we talked of differential pricing, we were talking of having an architecture where somebody can give free data or a reduced price data to go to certain content, to go to certain websites. That was the basic idea. So essentially what is happening is that a network provider
is deciding
playing
on
a part in basically the destination or the other kinds of things.
Right.
What we are saying is that part is one part. At the same time, let's look at it from the content provider's end.
Right.
If a content provider wants to promote visiting his site,
right,
or there are some sites which let's say e-governance sites or something where the government wants to provide a toll-free kind of data.
Yeah.
Like you have a toll-free number to many of the
right.
public utility sites.
So tie-ups with telcos cannot be cast in stone, so to say.
What we are saying is that such arrangements where the content providers should be able to provide free data or reimburse the data cost,
right,
such as without entering into an one-to-one kind of agreements with the telcos.
Yeah.
Because ultimately they should not distort this entire pricing structure.
Right.
That arrangement is what we are seeking, because then it will ensure that you are able to provide toll-free kind of services to various websites.
All right, away from that and on to the other big story we've been consistently covering here on the show, Chandra, in what will put an end to the slugfest between cab aggregators and the Arvind Kejriwal government in the National Capital Region. Uber has agreed to stop surge pricing in Delhi. Taking a cue from this, Karnataka now is gearing up for strict enforcement of its recently drafted law governing cab aggregators. Transport Commissioner Rame Gowda spoke exclusively to ET Now's Rahul Dayama in Bengaluru on this. Listen to what he had to say.
They have not complied fully. They are still there to get a permit and license. And if they are not getting, means we have to tighten the enforcement, and we are doing. And see, I have told that. I think we have issued notices also. They have to comply. And see, if they don't get the thing, our license, definitely it's a violation. And they should not charge too much also. Fees are charged in all peak time and all. They're all illegal. We have framed a rule. Definitely they have to follow and then get the permission and the license. Yeah.
So surge pricing, they're still continuing. Delhi today, Uber has announced that they will completely stop surge pricing. So while they're able to do it in Delhi, why not in Bangalore when there's a clear law in place?
We'll do it. Definitely we'll enforce it, and then we'll tighten the enforcement, and then we'll do it.
So in terms of tightening enforcement, you mean that cabs will continue, because 1,000 odd cabs have been seized till now?
Definitely we can do it. And then if they don't do it, we'll book a case against the aggregator also.
All right. So, and lastly, the criticism that has come is that the transport department and the government is taking a stand that is against innovative startups and technology-led startups, and the demand supply surge pricing. The government does not really evaluate that.
No, definitely not. I'll tell you. See, we are for this thing, but they have to register. They should not exploit traveling public. That's our intention. Government has fixed the price, that is 19 rupees 50 paise. They should follow.
All right, away from that and on to the other big story that we're tracking over here. Venture capitalist firm Kalaari Capital startup incubator Kstart has published a survey on the state of women's entrepreneurship in India, and the result is not very flattering, I'm afraid. Here's a snapshot of some of the key findings from the survey that Kstart did with your story. It found that there is a gender bias that works against women entrepreneurs, whether it's a lack of mentoring or guidance or even access to funding. The survey also found that women are also let down by their inability to speak up and assert themselves. Investor confidence also tends to be lower when it comes to women entrepreneurs. But the survey has also suggested some recommendations that can change this scenario. The survey suggests that investors need to evaluate women entrepreneurs on merit and mentor them, with the government too chipping in, creating policies that will give women founders a fillip. It also calls upon successful women who are influencers in their own fields to create networks and platforms that will give other women a big leg up. So that's the word coming in as far as Kalaari's Capital and their Kstart incubator is concerned. So away from that to Alibaba and Samsung, who will work together on mobile payments, Chandra, in a move that could spell some worry for the likes of Apple. Samsung and Alibaba's partnership will make it easier for users to access Alipay using a Samsung device for payments. The tie-up will help Samsung push its payment service in China, one of the world's top markets for smartphones. Here's also a look at what else is buzzing. Facebook co-founder Eduardo Saverin and prominent Silicon Valley investor Raj Ganguly have closed a $143 million fund, which has Asia Focus Fund, that too with special emphasis on India and Southeast Asia. Saverin and Ganguly raised the money from a pool of 18 investors and are focusing on India and South Asia to address the gaps in the region. The fund is more likely to invest in Series B and C rounds as it feels there are potential openings in that segment. The fund has a presence in the Silicon Valley and is based in Singapore in Asia. It has already made investments in Menlo Park-based Evidation Health, a population health management and analytics platform, and Singapore-based Ninja Van, a last-mile logistics company for e-commerce delivery and return.
Krishna, good news on the fund, especially considering they are, investing in the Series B, Series C stage where investments have fallen off. I wonder what Mark Zuckerberg is going to make of this announcement. But moving on from that to this final segment of the day, number crunch. The number we are crunching for you today is 51,000. That's the number of app downloads per minute from the Apple App Store in 2016, according to data by Accelercom. At a time when Tim Cook is really looking to expand the market, targeting emerging markets like India, I'm sure this is something that is going to spell good news for him.
Oh, certainly. Look at that number over there, and I look at that. I love that graphic which is on here as well. 51,000 is the number of app downloads from App Store in a minute. I've been using Apple for the last over nearly a decade, Chandra, and I have to say it's really simple downloading apps from the Apple phone. That number seems completely justified, but that number could go up if Apple gets their emerging market play right. On that note, we wrap things up here on this edition of ET Now Startup Central, but don't go anywhere. Keep watching ET Now.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.